In today's tutorial, I will be showing you guys how to cut and sew this placket. It's going to be a very simple tutorial and it's going to be a step-by-step as always. Instead of doing the normal straight senator placket that I usually do, you can simply just spice up your work a little bit by giving it a little bit of design. So I'll take you guys throughout the step of doing this. You can actually tape this with any color. As you can see here, I did it with a black. Whether any color you are using, you can simply tape it with any color you want. If you enjoyed this video, all you have to do for me is just to simply click on the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're yet to subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure you turn on the bell notification icon. So let's get straight into the tutorial. Just in case you are interested in some of our private classes, we already did a class on how to cut and sew a kaftan suit. This is a kaftan, a tunic kaftan suit. So I took you guys through the step-by-step of doing this. Or if you want to learn how to cut and sew a safari suit, a link will be in the description below where you can click and simply enroll in the class on how to do this step by step. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tutorial. So the very first thing in which you're going to need is an interfacing. Here I'm using a collar stay and I'm going to cut the length of the stay at my exact placket length, which is 16 inches. You can see that I'm going to cut it at my exact placket length, which is going to be 16 inches. I already did a similar tutorial like this. I'll put a picture of it on the screen right here so you guys can go and check the video. The very first thing you're going to do is to simply fold your collar stay just like this. You're interfacing in double. First and foremost, fold it in double like this. And you're going to fold it again. You can see that. And you're going to also fold it again, depending on the measurement in which you want. If you want the deepness of the zigzag to be 1 inch or half of an inch, that's what you're going to fold it to be. So I want this to be at a total of 1 inch. If I fold it together at this stage, if I fold it together here, you can see what I did. If I measure this, I'm going to have 2 inches, but I want the distance between the zigzag to be just 1 inch. So I'm going to fold it to 1 inch. If you want, you can see I have 1 inch here. If you want it to be half inch, you're still going to have to fold this into 2 in order to get your half inch, right? So I'll be using 1 inch distance between each of the zigzag in this video. So right here, I'm just going to simply get that. I'm going to trim out the edge so that I can have a straight edge here. You can see that. So after I get the edge, now the depth of the zigzag between each other is going to be, between each of the zigzag is going to be half of an inch. On the previous video, I did 1 inch, so it is very, very slanty so that each of the fabric is going to like show on the other side. But on this one, I want it to just be straight because we are simply doing just one. So I'll be using half of an inch at this place. You can see that, half of an inch. So from the side, I'm going to simply mark half of an inch on that top part. So at this place, I want this to be clearer, okay? So at this place, I'm going to simply mark half of an inch. I'm going to explain this better so that you guys are going to understand. So from this half of an inch, I'm going to make a slant. I'm going to make a slant line at that place. Just at this place, I'm going to simply slant that line. You can see that. You can see that. So after slanting that, the wideness of my placket itself is going to be 1 inch. The wideness of the placket is going to be 1 inch in itself. So I'm going to mark my 1 inch. If you want your placket to be like 1.5, that's exactly what you're going to mark at this place. This is the measurement that will determine the wideness of your placket itself. So we're doing 1 inch, so I'm going to mark it. So after marking those two sides, I'm going to simply connect the two lines together. You can see that it's actually a very, very simple tutorial, and I believe you guys are going to love the results. You can see that after getting that, I'm going to simply, you can see the distance is now going to be like half of an inch depth from both sides. Let's cut it so that I'm going to explain this to you guys. So I'm just going to cut it out just here. You can see that, and also this side also I'm going to cut it out just like this. You can see that. So when I simply open this, this is what we are going to be having. You can see that. So now the distance between the outside and the sharpness of that side is half of an inch. That's what I meant by the distance. That's what we measure by 5 inches. You can see that. So the wideness of our main placket itself is going to be 1 inch. You can see that. So we're going to have 1 inch exactly at that place. So this is exactly how to get your measurement for how wide and how deep you want your placket to be. So now I'm going to cut a piece of fabric I'll be using, and I'm just going to place it above it like this. Make sure you're working with the wrong side of the fabric. I'm just going to place it and simply give it a thorough ironing. You can see what we have. So I already cut 2 black fabric also, which is going to be of the same size. You can see that I cut 2 black fabric also. So actually the fabric I cut is actually longer. It's like 17. I'm still going to like trim it out. Just cut an excess for just in case. That's what I usually do. So after I cut that out, I'm just going to simply iron it. So after gumming it to the fabric, this is what you're going to be having. You can see that. I'm still going to cut out that excess, so you guys should pay attention to that. So after cutting it out, make sure you're working with the wrong side of the fabric. I'm going to simply place the black at the back of the fabric itself. Make sure the right side of the fabric is facing the right side of the black fabric that you're using. You can see that. And I'm going to run a stitch at the side, just exactly at the side of the zigzag design that we did on the interfacing. You're going to run a stitch all the way down, and also on the second one also at the side, you're going to open it like this. You're going to place this also like this, and you're going to also run a stitch following the zigzag all the way down. You can see that. So you can see this is my first stitch. You can see what I have here. Just follow it. Make sure you are like tracing the exact shape that we have on the interfacing. You're just going to trace it all the way down. So after that, you're going to simply open this up and place your second side. Place the second side like this. You can see that. And simply stitch it all the way down. So after stitching it, this is what we're going to be having. So I'm just going to trim out the excess. You can see my scissors is dead. I need to get another scissors. I'm just going to trace out this one also. So after trimming it out, this is what you're going to be having. So now all you have to do now is to pay attention. So I'm just going to trim out these sides. Make sure you trim it out. You can see what I'm doing. Trim it out. This one also. Make sure you are not cutting the seamed parts. You're not cutting the seamed parts. You're just cutting the fabric. And you're leaving a little bit of space in between. So after you trim that part out, I want you guys to pay attention here. After you trim that part out, each of the corners of the zags, you're going to simply notch that corner. Make sure you're not notching it off to the fabric itself. You're just going to like notch it. You can see that. So after notching it, you can simply turn this inside. You see what I'm having here. And you can simply use your hand to control the amount of black that is going to reflect on the orange fabric. So you're going to use your hand to control it. And you're going to, after cutting all of those sides, you're going to cut it all the way down. Then you're going to simply use iron to simply align how many black you want to see outside. So let me cut this guy and show you guys the final result. So I've cut one side and already make a notch on one side. You can see that. And you're going to simply just pop it out just like this. You can see like it's actually turning like it's going down, like because it's not ironed. So we are going to need this. When your iron is very important, you're going to need to use your iron to like balance out everything. So let me cut every part of it. Let me notch it and turn it and show you guys what the final result is going to look like. You can see it's actually a little bit tricky when you get to this stage because it will be moving around itself. It will be moving around. So this is where you need your iron. Make sure you balance it all out. You can see that. Take your time. You can see the amount of black. You can see the amount of black that I have at that edge. You can see that. The same thing, make sure the same amount of black you're having on the side is exactly the same thing you're having on the second side. So after you turn the first side, you can see one side, this is one side that I turned. Make sure you iron it from behind. You can see that. So after ironing it from the back, you are going to simply trim out the excess black fabric. That back part, you're going to simply trim it out. You can see that excess part before you simply turn the second side. So just like this, just going to like trim it out. You can see that. Trim it out, then we can simply turn the second side also. You can see that. Make sure you are not trimming it to the edge of the fabric itself. That's very important. So you can see here. After that, turn this one also. You can see the result we are getting, how beautiful it's looking. You can see that. Simply iron it. So after ironing it, you can see what we are having so far. So all you now have to do now is to make sure you balance it. You can see the result we are having. You can see how smooth the result is. You can see the result we are having. You can see the result we are having. Do you see how beautiful this is? I'm not sure you are seeing what I'm seeing. This is amazing, like crazily amazing. All right, so at the back also give it a good ironing. Make sure the back side is balanced as well. You can see that. You can see that. So after that is balanced, all you now have to do now is to get where your placket is going to hang. You're hanging on the bodice itself. So this is going to be, let me measure from the top part. I'm going to have like okay, supposed to be from the top part. I'm going to have like 7 inches opening. That's from the neck. So all you have to do now is to simply get your exact neck, where your neck is going to be, and I'm going to simply slit it. So I want you guys to pay attention here. Let me measure it. 7 inches opening from the top, 7 inches opening. So here I'm going to simply cut this place into 2. I'm not going to cut it all out, just a little bit, and my scissors has gone mad. Jesus. When I get to the market today, I will have to like get a new scissors. Even the metal one, there's no original scissors again. It's crazy. Like, I don't understand. So the down part, I'm going to simply trim out that part. That will be the down part. You can see. I'm just going to simply trim out that part. You can see what we have. You can see how beautiful that is. And this side, all you have to do is just to simply turn it inside and iron it. This is the side that's going to hang on your inner, like inside of your outfit. You can see that. Iron it well. Simply place it down. So this is what you're going to be having. You can see how beautiful this look. Even if you want your placket to be smaller than this, you can simply get exactly the same result. So all you just have to do is just to simply fold the upper part. I'm going to trim out this part. You need to trim out this part. You can see. You can see all you have to do is just to simply fold this upper part. Use your gum to like fold it down. You can see that. Just take your time. Fold it exactly the way you fold your normal straight placket. It's exactly the same process. Just this tip, you're going to simply cut it out before you key in inside your placket. So let me just fold that out and show you guys what the final result is going to look like. So you can see what I have. I already just fold that down part, and also the top part also I just fold it. You can see what I have. Just fold this down inside. You can see, open it up and fold this one also inside. Then you can simply use it to like key in your neck area and cut out that tip. That's as simple as that. So now when you're stitching, you're going to be stitching it with a orange fabric, with an orange, like your main color fabric. That's what you're going to be using to stitch it. So if you like the video, make sure you give it a